podcast. My name is Steve Libman, and I am here today with Christian Kane, founder and father of Gavin, the inspiration behind the Field of Dreams in Toms River. And we're excited to have him on. Integrity Holdings Group is partnering with, as you guys know, in every deal that we do, a 501c3 that we have a connection to. And, you know, we want to create long-term support for these nonprofits, just as we do with our investors. So really excited to be able to create some passive income for you guys. So welcome, Christian.
Dave, thank you so much. Once again, being a nonprofit, founder of a nonprofit organization, like the Field of Dreams, defined entities like yourself, to want to give back to the community and help us build things that, will help those who can't, especially those who live with a special need, a place to go to and a place to have fun. It really is, once again, greatly appreciated for what you guys are doing for us.
Oh man, we're honored and blessed to be able to help out in any way that we can. So give us a little bit of background. I know that a lot of people do know your story, but for the listeners out there that might be across the country that haven't necessarily heard, give us a little bit of background of how the Toms River Field of Dreams came to be.
Well, obviously, sometimes things that happen tragically, obviously that maybe can turn into something a positive. And on July 12th, 2012, I was in a car accident with them. Son Gavin, who was 19 months old at the time. A truck had hit us from behind, and basically Gavin suffered a traumatic brain injury. I do remember getting him out of the car and lifeless, breathless, and on that day my life changed, and my wife's life and our entire family changed because we were now thrown into this world of special needs. And we lived in a hospital for 2 months. We brought him home, and it was basically you're in this situation where you don't really know what to do, and no one's really giving you that much hope. And if not for the hope between my wife and I, thinking that we'll be able to save Gav and give him back to somewhat of normal life, that was the only thing that kept us driving. So. It's difficult. It's a difficult life. We've met a lot of people on the way, and I'm glad to say now it's now 8 years since the accident. Gavin still cannot walk or talk on his own, but he does have a device that helps him talk and lets him be able to read and communicate. He wears AFOs, which allows him to walk with assistance. So he's entering 3rd grade. So life with Gav, it's been a struggle. It's you're everything for him. You're his doctor, his nurse, his PT, his OT, and along the way, we met a lot of people who were in our same boat. And basically, the Field of Dreams came when my wife went to a well-renowned special needs playground in our community, and it was a beautiful day in March. And basically, it was the big red swing, placed all the way in the corner, and Mary's 5 feet tall, Gavin's 4 feet 7. They're about the same amount of weight, and she's trying to lift him up onto this big red chair, and basically she couldn't. As she put him on, it would move, and the thing that bothered her the most and really got us going the most was that it was crowded with parents of typical kids. And when Mary was looking for help, everyone looked up at her and then looked back down. Not one person, Steve, helped her get Gavin up on the swing. And here is a special needs playground where it was really only one big red swing, and nobody wanted to help because they were either too afraid or they didn't want to be bothered. And so when Mary came home crying and telling me the whole story, I think that's when we started in March of 2017. We started the idea of how do we build something, build it correctly, but then also help anyone of any age, of any disability with a special need. That was the key thing. Really, how can we help as many people as possible?
And it expanded along the way, right? So, I mean, the initial thought that you guys had and what this has become, vastly different.
Crazy. It was just supposed to be a playground and a baseball field. That was it. 2 little things. And what happened was I was starting out. Now, mind you, I was trying to raise, $500,000. And basically what happened along the way was, as I was starting to do talks and meeting groups and getting donations, I met more and more people that weren't just like Gavin, who was just at that point, 5 years old. No, I was meeting 15-year-old, a boy who had, suffering through cancer. I met a 73-year-old, veteran who was an amputee. I met a 63-year-old grandmother who just suffered a stroke and couldn't take care of her grandchildren anymore. So all of a sudden, just having a ball field and a playground wasn't good enough,
Not
because
going to cut it.
now there was so many more people out there needing help. And so now all of a sudden you have your baseball field and your playground, but now you have your bocce courts and your basketball courts and your walking path and your pavilion and your service dog area and a miniature golf course, an autistic quiet corner. And, you're building all these things so that people can now not have to worry about the situation they're in. They don't have to worry about paying like a monthly fee or anything along those lines. They can participate in leagues or activities that they either used to do or they ever always wanted to do. And the most part, the most important part is it gives the caretakers, those who are taking care of their loved ones, a place now, not only to bring their loved ones to go experience things with, and not have to worry about, oh, I'm in a wheelchair, or I have, I only have one arm, or I'm just coming off chemo. Like, you don't have to worry about that. We'll take care of that. That's all taken care of. But it allows the caretaker now to take a seat on the bench, watch their loved one participate. But at the same time, when someone's sitting right next to them and saying, you're in the same boat. Oh, what doctors you go to, what therapists. And so now all of a sudden you're networking, and it's just bringing this whole community to light in an area of, of Tom's River, where, you're in a central location that everyone's going to see. See, that's the key thing. Put it in a location that everyone can see this, up front, up center, and just know that if you have a special need, doesn't mean that your life is sit at home and sit in the corner in front of a computer all day. No, it's out front. You can play with me. If you're typical and I'm a special needs person, we can now experience things together. That's the important part of the complex, and hence the $2.2 million now budget.
Right, of course. Yeah, the budget has increased quite a bit, which is, I mean, it's incredible the way that you guys have been able to not just take, Gavin's needs into account, but as other people approached you and said, hey, would you think about expanding this? Instead of just saying, no, that's too big of a piece for us to bite off, you just said, okay, well, let's see if we can figure out how to make it work, right? And that's great testimony.
When listen, and you don't know it until you're in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know until you're in the world what you're going to do. And it just happened to be that, with Mary and I being so strong in regards to our, our faith and our belief that Gavin was going to get better, and our relationship that we'd be able to do something like this, we just saw it unfair that, we'll be able to take care of Gavin, but there's so many other people that needed help. And sometimes the only ones who can help are the ones who are living in it. And it's a responsibility that we're fine with, because it's just unfair that there are so many people who live without having a smile on their face, or the enjoyment of playing an activity, or just being with somebody and playing a game of chess or checkers at the playground, and be able to know that you have a place to go to, that you don't have to be stared at and looked at, and you can be seen as an equal.
Just outdoors and a beautiful day, right? I mean, just the simple pleasures of life that I think a lot of us take for granted. And, circling back to what you said before, where Mary was at the park and she wasn't getting the assistance. And so I know what that looks like. I mean, and I don't, I kind of give people a lot of grace because they don't know, they're ignorant to that kind of situation. And you would think more people would be more helpful. But I remember, I have a special needs brother who passed away about 6 years ago. And he grew up, severely handicapped in terms of having seizures, upwards of 30 times a day at some point. And his brain function was, he's a 35-year-old man functioning at a 7 to 9 month level. You take him out to a Roy Rogers, right? And it's just, you're getting looked at, you're getting stares at. It's just, people don't understand. So what I love about the creation of this community is that you have people that I mean, empathy, forget about empathy, right? They've
Yeah.
been through it with you, so they really understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
And unless you go through it, right? And I pray that nobody does, but unless you
Right.
go through it, it's a difficult thing to explain to anybody how much it touches your life.
Until you see it. Until you
Yeah.
see it. Until like people come into the house and they're like, how do you and Mary do this 24 hours a day? And
Yeah.
how are you able to then also take care of your 5 other children and your job and your home and all the other things? You just do it. Now, what is the other amazing part is not only, the amount of, when you tell the story and the amount of people that have been willing to help financially, it's really what's amazing is the other side of it. The people who have now said, listen, I'm on your volunteer list. I want to help out. I want to be a part. Tell me what can I do when this place is up and running. I want to coach. I want to assist. And Steve, that's the other part of this. That's more. So you have the complex, which is great, and it's built, but now it needs to live and breathe. And the only way it lives and breathes if you do events that people can interact with of whatever varying levels, but you have those who are typical, who are willing to come now and have fun. Introduce themselves. Hey, listen, you want to go on the zip line? Hey, can I help you get on the swing? Hey, do you want to play a round of miniature golf? Now all of a sudden, people are now connecting, interacting, and you're now forgetting about the wheelchair and the crutch and the key. You're forgetting all about that. And it's just coming down to 2 human beings or a bunch of people
humanity
having fun. And that's basically for people with a special need and their caretakers, that 5 minutes, that 20 minutes, or whatever length of time it is, that means everything to them more than, writing out a check for, $500,000. It's really for the special needs people, that ability to know that, hey, listen, I can have fun and I can enjoy and I can hang out with somebody because I never thought I could ever do that. That's the really aspect.
I love that aspect of it because even growing up, right, I was in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade and my friends would come over to play. My brother was there and it was a new interaction. They didn't know what they didn't know. And it was just, well, you're kids, right? So you just jump in, you start interacting because you don't know any better. And it gave wonderful perspective. Even to this day, I have friends that are like, man, it was so great to grow up with your brother in the household because it created a lot of great perspective. So I can't wait for these parents and volunteers to be able to bring their typical children around, right? And just kind of create this new idea, this new paradigm shift in how people think about atypical children, right? It's going to be exciting.
It is. And, once again, the game plan's already being implemented with, our projects and our programs and our festivals and our events. So, because we live it, we have once again, Gavin has birthday party invitations and they're not always from special needs kids. Most of them, I'm going to be honest with you, are from typical kids in his class because they don't see any difference. As a matter of fact, they almost attract to him because, wow, he's talking through a tablet and he's in a wheelchair, but then all of a sudden he stands up and the kids are like, well, I didn't know you could stand up. And it's like, but the kids, they don't care. It's, to tell you the truth, it's the parents. They're like, oh shit, can he come? Is it going to be too? And it's like, he's not a piece of china, he's a boy. He's in there. And that's the thing, even if you're 70, there's that kid inside of you that wants to do something and either be playing a game of, checkers or going down a zip line, miniature golf, whatever we're to offer. There's always that kid in you. And that's what we're trying to pull out. And, it's been a long road. Listen, it's been 3 years of just trying to figure things out, but, we're close. We're knocking on the door, basically. Knocking on the door, this thing being done.
I saw pre-pandemic, you guys are, clearing the field, right? We're starting construction. So assuming the world is allowed to get back to work soon, what's your expected timeline in terms of, what it'll look like?
They say late October, early November, we'll be all done. There's basically, So basically that they said there's 3 major phases. Phase 1, which is complete, which is the clearing, the grading, and, setting everything up, crushed stone, getting everything set up. And that's great. Pandemic hits. And now phase 2 is now on hold because of now your crew now, all of a sudden you don't have as many crew members now working and then getting product. That's the other issue because not as many people are working, so now you gotta wait. So they're hoping that phase 2, which is the underbelly, which is your gas lines, your power lines, all, your crushed stone, you're prepping everything, you're putting in your foundation for your pavilion and the snack shack. that should start within next week, and that takes about 6 to 8 weeks. So, all right, that gets you to September 1st.
Yeah.
And then phase 3, real simple. MRC, Martin Recreation Construction, comes in, and they just put everything in, and they set it all up, and they have all the equipment. Everything's been delivered. It's just sitting and waiting. So, so that's what we got. All right, I'm going to take a quick pause because Gavin's getting called to be out of the pool. Be right back. Cool.
Oh, cool.
So
a lot less pressure, right? And
yeah. Yes,
so
you're only talking
and,
about maybe 50% of your body weight do you feel now. So he's able to be strong enough to do that. So now when you do your drills inside the house, he's now like, all right, it's just like being in the pool, but it's heavier, but that's the idea. Teaching him how to feel what it's like to walk and stand. So it's been really working well. So
good for PT, right?
Yeah. All right, whenever you're ready.
Cool. All right. So phase 1, phase 2, looking at phase 3 ending October, November.
Yep.
And so this works out really well with the timing. We reached out back to you guys because we've been on pause in terms of how we've been able to, because of the pandemic as well. So we just got back from Columbus. I'll send you some pictures and some walkthrough.
Can't
photos
wait. Yeah.
of the so it's an 84 unit complex that is going to be, supporting the Toms River Field of Dreams, which
that's great.
I love, right? Because it's 84 people paying rent. It's 84 families that are going to be benefiting from not only the housing that we're giving them, but also Toms River Field of Dreams too. So we're really excited about that. And, also for me, I know what it's like to fundraise, right? Been involved with 501c3s. It is brutal.
Yep.
So what we want to do, right, and we're calling out you other multifamily investors right now too, is you can afford to put these nonprofits into these deals, right? The vision that we got was to carve out a piece of equity for every nonprofit in one of every deal. These deals go very far, right? So we're creating consistent passive income for our investors, but also for nonprofits like you. We're going to be able to sit down with our pro forma and tell you, hey, Christian, you can expect this in year 1, this in year 2, this in year 3, this in year 4. Helps you guys budget a lot easier, right? And then, I just think from a nonprofit perspective, you guys are focused on the mission, the fundraising piece of it. It's good to find people that can be what we call the rope holders, right? I'll go down in the pit and you hold the rope. So, we're excited to be able to partner with you guys on this, and it's in our backyard. So I'm excited to not only be able to write some checks, but also be able to bring the kids over and volunteer and help out with leagues and things like that. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, it's what you guys are doing is just, phenomenal. And you just wish that, obviously someone hears this podcast or someone hears our story and hears about what you guys are doing. And all of a sudden, you know what, listen, that's maybe something I can do. Maybe I can get our company involved, and I can get other entities to be wanting to do the same thing. And kind of, what happens is kind of steamrolls because it's kind of like fundraising. It's like when you get the first one, then all of a sudden says, oh, he's doing it. All right, I'll do it as well. And that's basically, how we were able to raise the $2.2 billion so quickly was because it kind of dominoed. Once you got the first person to say, hey, wow, that's a really good idea, I'm going to kind of follow suit. So, I really do hope that this venture, obviously will get other entities to join in because once again, it's a win-win for everybody, it seems.
And the construction costs are just the first piece, right? So you guys have committed the construction costs so that you can get there, but then you have ongoing costs that you're going to need. And that's why we were able to come in and say, what other needs are there going to be? How much money do you think you'll need for these leagues, right? Special needs parents don't have a bunch of ancillary income sitting around so that they can go pay $300 a season for their kid to play baseball, right?
No, and that's the idea of the complex was to allow these parents of special needs children or caretakers not to have to worry about money, because once they start worrying about, oh, I got to pay for this, I'm not going to do it. No, it's free. All they got to do is enroll, into our website, and then they'll get the notices about what's going on. But you're right, there is annual cost of, once again, you can't get everything for free. So you can't keep going to the same guy who's going to print T-shirts for you, or the same equipment company that's going to give you the material that you need. You are going to need a yearly thing, and obviously when you get donors who are going to give you significant amount of money over a amount of time like you guys are, it is a relief for myself because, now I don't have to kind of be running around with my head cut off saying, oh, I got to do this event, I got to do that event. I can kind of keep a lot of my attention to the actual complex to make sure it's running, effectively and efficiently.
Yep. So quick shift of gears, casino night still happening?
Yes, late November. We have. I want to say it's second. It's the second November. It's the second Saturday in November. And once again, these times are so odd, and so weird. But we're the idea is us to still have it. Maybe not as elaborate, but to still have it. And to acknowledge the people who've been there for you. And once again, we're acknowledging Mayor Tom Keller as our Founders Award. If not for Tom, I don't know where this place would be, because he was the one who wanted to say, yeah, I'm going to give you the piece of property. Don't worry about there's going to be a fee for a lease or anything like that. You do what you got to do so that we can have this thing in Tom's River. So
Awesome.
he's going to win the Founders Award. And then we have two
Very
entities who are going to be our major, two entities that were just great. Pharaoh Teas, which also is in Tom's River.
Yeah.
And Dominic is just, if you ever meet Dominic, you're talking about a genuine guy who wants to help out. And he was the first guy that I went to when I was doing my very first fundraiser, which was at Lakewood Blue Claws. And we had over 1,100 people buy tickets for the Field of Dreams. He paid for every single shirt. I have to pay a dime.
Wow.
And then our web developer, Victor Kortnick, same thing, another Tom's River guy, heard the story from his daughter who was in my class at Tom's River High School North. And he said, listen, I see your website. It's god awful. Let me take over. And what he's done, he's moved us into now a different place where people love our website. People can hear our story, read about our story, see our videos, see a podcast, and then also donate whenever they want. And
and I love that website. So go to tomsriverfieldofdreams.com, right? And you can see some of the artist renderings that are up there. You can see updated videos. You can listen to Christian on some podcasts like this one. But it really gives a great, well-rounded story. I was just watching you and your wife on. It's probably a year ago now that this story was uploaded, right? But you're talking about your love for sports. That's the Fox.
It's the Fox Sports documentary. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it'll bring you to tears. It's both for what you guys have been through, but also the way that you've overcome through it. And I just love listening to the story. We're excited to be part of it. So TomsRiverFieldOfDreams.com. People can donate directly through the site.
Yep, go right to the site, read the story that says simply says donate. Goes all to us. There's no middleman or anything like that, which is great. It's easy and safe and secure.
And you guys are still selling off some home plates, or what are you still selling?
You can just we're doing home plates and benches, basically pavers. If there's anything that a lot of people want to be a part, and they say, how can I give? And sometimes they want to kind of also, observe somebody that maybe has just passed, or a loved one in their life, and they would like to either have, a paver or a bench or a home plate in their name. And basically, that helps us kind of, constantly keep raising money to kind of now get us to the point where really we're going to try to make sure that we're maintaining the complex, for the next 5 or 10 years, where we really don't have to worry about hustling so much. But yeah, it's a great website. Yeah, TomsRiverFieldOfDreams.com. You can hear our whole story, and obviously, if you have any questions, you just simply email us. There's a link there to email us. So that's really moved us into the definitely into a new world of social media. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Well, Christian, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything that you're doing. We're excited to be able to be just a small piece of it. And we can't wait to see what happens over the next couple of months as this begins to take shape and begins to take form. So thank you and your wife for everything that you guys are doing. And we're always here if you need us. So please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, brother. Thank you once again for, this great grant that you're giving us. And, once again, it's just know the things that you're doing, are really going to affect, not, just one person. It's going to be, thousands of people in Monmouth and Ocean and Burlington County. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, you too. We're excited. Thank you so much for listening to the Free from Wall Street podcast. If you have not done so, go to freefromwallstreet.com and download the 5 things your financial advisor does not want you to know so that you can learn how to create some alternative passive income for you and your family as well. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you next time.